Everyone, please join the meeting. We're going to start.
जाओ थ्रू जाओ नीचे दो है you can me hello
Hello. I'm going some problem. So he'll be joining in a minute. We will starting in 2 to 3 minutes from now.
काय मिळते का एवढी पण ते मी पण उशीर जाणार तुम्ही घेऊन जावा तिला दादा काय म्हणतात काय म्हणतात काम करू शकते भरपूर करू शकते मग काय काय पाहिजे आणि काय
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone. We will be starting the session next 2 to 3 minutes. Actually, the expert is facing some issues with the network problem. Please kindly be there. We will be starting in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Hello. Hello, am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir. It's audible, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, good evening to everyone.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
My name is Iman.
Good evening, sir.
So, good evening to everyone. My name is Himanshu Ranjan and I welcome you all to this webinar on hydrogen and fuel cell. So, today I will be talking about the hydrogen and fuel cell. So, the agenda will be on hydrogen. I will be talking about the development history of hydrogen, like when was hydrogen first identified. Then I will be talking about the fuel cell, like its working, its principle, constructions, its different types of fuel cell, its application, and then I will do some hands-on calculation, like how much heat is generated during inside the fuel cell, and what is the efficiency. And after that I will be calculating the fuel cell voltage, and after that I will be talking about the fuel cell electric vehicle, and then some government initiative. So, coming to the next slide, which is the discovery of hydrogen and its application. So, in 1766, a scientist named Henry, who was British scientist, so he identified the hydrogen as a distinct element. Okay, and then in year 1785, a scientist named Anthony, he performed that experiment and give the name of that distinct element as hydrogen. And in 1800, the William Nicholson, he was known as the father of electrolysis. So I was talking about the hydrogen. So electrolysis is a process in which hydrogen is formed. So what is in the process of electrolysis? Electrolyzer, it uses the electricity to produce electrolysis. Produce hydrogen. Now in 1900, the hydrogen was used in a hot air balloon by Ferdinand. Okay, and this was used in Germany. So we can see initially when was hydrogen found, and it was given a name, and then in 1800 its production technique was introduced and its application is started. So these are the some properties of hydrogen, like hydrogen is colorless. And now talking to the cost, like what is the current cost of what is the cost of 1 kg of hydrogen? So we can see it is about 322 rupees 300, and it is expected that the cost of 1 kg of hydrogen by 2030 will be 160 to 170. So why it is expected? Because our government has initiated, not only government in world, hydrogen are taken into concern to be used as fuel and in various applications, because hydrogen is a clean and green. Okay, so it doesn't emit CO2. So many schemes has been introduced. So it is expected that by 2030 hydrogen price will be about 160 to 170 per kg. So now coming to the next slide, which is the development history, like it is continued from the first slide. In 1958, NASA was founded to use liquid hydrogen as its fuel. Like NASA was using hydrogen as its fuel. In 1961, the first rocket which used liquid hydrogen as its fuel. So this rocket name was Aerojet. Okay, and it used the liquid hydrogen as its fuel. And in 1981, the first space shuttle which used the hydrogen as fuel, so it was in Soviet Union. Okay, and the first jet engine in 1988. So this was the first jet engine in 1988 which used the liquid hydrogen as a fuel. So we can see the from the identification, then naming, then production, how it produced, and then after its first application in hot air balloons in NASA. NASA started using its first rocket application, its first shuttle, and in jet engine. So we can see how hydrogen was started using as fuel. Now coming to the fuel cell technology, like development history of fuel cell. So in 1830, the scientist named Christian, okay, so he was a German and he discovered the principle on which the fuel cell works. So what is the working of fuel cell? I will be explaining in the further slide. So simply he explained that fuel cell work on pure hydrogen and pure water. So what we give to the fuel cell, he told that pure form of hydrogen and oxygen is needed for the generation of electricity. Okay, but in 1899, the Charles was the scientist who demonstrated the fuel cell principle and told that instead of using pure hydrogen, okay, instead of using pure hydrogen, we can use hydrogen which we can get from coal gases, and instead of using the pure air, we can use pure oxygen, we can use air. So this was the some development history related to fuel cells. Now in 1937, the scientist's name was Ebert. Okay, so he invented the first solid electrolyte fuel cell. So what is solid electrolyte fuel cell? So depending upon the material used into the electrolyte of the fuel cell. So don't worry, what is electrolyte, I will be explaining in the further slide. Okay, so coming to the next slide, in 1959, the Thomas Bacon, so he was the scientist who developed the AFC fuel cells. So fuel cells are of different type. Okay, and the first electrolyte was developed in year 1937, and AFC stands for Alkaline fuel cell. So this was developed by Thomas Bacon in year 1959. So as we can see, the development of fuel cell was increasing, and the technology, due to the technology, so NASA used that fuel cell, okay, AFC fuel cells, which were developed by Thomas Bacon in from 1968 to 1972 in its NASA Apollo mission. And in 1988, the German demonstrated, the German Siemens, which the Siemens is an electrical company, who the Sir Simon introduced, demonstrated the fuel cell, okay, onto a summary. Okay, so we can see the fuel cell when it was developed, and after that, by time it was used as the some in applications also. So now the hydrogen vehicle concept. Okay, so we can see that in 1970, BMW introduced the concept, like they introduced that hydrogen vehicle can be also there. So it was by BMW in 1970s. Okay, so they give the concept of hydrogen vehicle, and in 2006 the US Ford Motor, okay, launched the shuttle bus, okay, which was based on hydrogen engine. And now the coming to the commercial, okay, so Toyota Mirai, this is the first commercial vehicle. Okay, so this vehicle, I will be talking more about this vehicle, like its working, its specification, and many more. So coming to the next slide, which is the Toyota Mirai specification. So this vehicle, I will be explaining the specification, like which fuel cell is being used, what is the motor capacity, what is the battery capacity used here, and many more things. So here is the Mirai specification. So we can see here the Toyota Mirai, okay, the fuel cell is there is some sound, please mute. Okay, so now the Toyota fuel system is of PEM. So PEM is polymer electrolyte. So what is polymer electrolyte and what is the chemistry inside it? I will be explaining those things in different type of fuel cells. So the fuel cell, its maximum power output is 128, okay, and the weight of that fuel cell is 32 kilogram, and one cell is of and number of cell, like fuel cell is what? Fuel cell is combination of many fuel cells, like it first the fuel cell becomes stack, and then module, then solution, then system. So number of fuel cell is total here 330. And now we are talking about the hydrogen tank, like where will be the hydrogen will stored. So there are total number of tank is 3, and its refueling time, like time taken to refuel the hydrogen, is 5 minutes, and then the total overall capacity of hydrogen will be filled into it is about 5.6 kilogram. So this is the some specification. And now coming to the battery part, okay, so the fuel Mirai, this Mirai has lithium ion batteries, and its voltage rating is 310, and the capacity of the battery is 4 ampere hour, and the overall capacity, like we can say kilowatt hour, in terms of kilowatt hour, it is 1.24 kilowatt hour. So here battery is used as secondary and the fuel cell is as the primary. And the motor is coming to the motor specification. The motor is of PMSM, permanent magnet synchronous motor, which having the rating of 135 kilowatt, and the torque, okay, we can see it has the torque of 300, and the mileage estimate is this vehicle promises the mileage of 647 kilometer, we can say. So now coming to the working of the fuel cell. So this is a simplified diagram of a fuel cell. We can see here the fuel cell has anode, okay, and then cathode, okay, and it is separated by a medium which is known as electrolyte. So from electrolyte, what we do in the fuel cell, we supply hydrogen, okay, we can see here hydrogen at anode. So hydrogen is being supplied at the anode, and due to the presence of catalyst here, the hydrogen is split into proton and neutron. Like we can see from this equation, the hydrogen is being split into proton and electron, and the positive part, like we can say the proton passes through the electrolyte, okay, and goes towards the cathode and combined and result into water. So we can see here the water H2 is being supplied and through at the anode, and the hydrogen separated into electron and proton. The proton passes through the electrolyte and come to the cathode and then react there with oxygen molecule, okay. So here we can see at cathode what reaction is being happened, and there it releases the water. And what happened to the electron? So electron also finds the external part, and that means we give the external part to the electrons to flow. And we know from the basic principle of electrochemistry that whenever there is electron flow in this direction, suppose in this direction, the current flow will be in opposite direction. So the current will be flowing here from cathode to anode. So this is the mainly basic working of the fuel cell. Like, so overall reaction is here, which is H2 half O2 and H2O as its output product and heat. So during this reaction H2 and O2, the water and heat is the only output, we can say. So now we can see from here that a fuel cell. So see, a single fuel cell supplies the not that much power. So what we do, we connect the like suppose this is one fuel cell. Okay, now we connected the 3 fuel cells. Okay, so it becomes stacked and the rating of this fuel cell increases, and like we can see here, now the stack combine to form module and its rating increases, and then this module also combines, like we can see here one module is can be placed here and here, and it become a system. So its rating also increases, and then for if we want the power rating in megawatt, we can say we can see here the system is connected like this. So it become we can get the power in terms of megawatt. So this is how the solution which we can get from the fuel cell. Now coming to the working, like here's a graph in which we can see the working. Okay, so here we can see the anode. Hydrogen came to the anode and then splitted into electron and proton. The proton passes through the electrolyte and the electrons passes through the external circuit, like we can see here, and we can see the water vapor. Water is the output and along with the heat. So this is the simple working of a fuel cell. Now coming to the next slide. So till now we have talked lot of things about the working and the fuel cell. So we will be calculating its heat, like how much heat is being released in the overall reaction, and then we will calculate the efficiency, and after that we will be calculating the fuel cell voltage. Okay, so I will calculate its enthalpy. So this from its basic thermodynamics. So for calculating the enthalpy, if a reaction is given here, we can see here the enthalpy is calculated by the formation of the enthalpy of formation of product and the enthalpy of formation of reactant, we can see. Okay, so for the standard enthalpy and entropy for the formation of reactant and product at standard temperature and pressure. Okay, so here I have mentioned. So from here, from this data, we can calculate the enthalpy, like we can say the how much heat is being released in the overall reaction. So del H will be we can see the enthalpy of formation of product. What is it? Del HF H2O, okay, minus enthalpy of formation of O2, which is 0. So simply we can see that del H2 is minus 286.2 kilojoule per mole. So then in the enthalpy, like the total amount of heat which is being released into this reaction or this reaction is this much, and negative sign indicates that it's an exothermic reaction in which the heat is being released. So now coming to the next slide. So this one is the overall reaction, okay, which sorry, not reaction, the enthalpy formula, okay, and from here del H I have calculated minus 286.02 kilojoule per mole. Okay, so keep it in memory. Okay. So here now we will be calculating the Gibbs free energy. Okay, so what is Gibbs free energy? And in simple terms, I will be saying that Gibbs free energy is the used energy. So with the energy which is usable to us, the energy which we can use is the Gibbs free energy. And to calculate the usable energy, Gibbs free energy, what we will do, we will subtract the entropy.
हम लोगों का काम चला रही है मतलब हम लोग आप ये कि अगर ये तो एटी वाले कोडिंग कहाँ गया तो ये बताने का देखिए बात
Please keep your mic mute. So now for del G, we will be calculating the from del H, like we will calculate the product of temperature and entropy from the total energy, and we will get the entropy. Okay, so at first we will calculate the entropy. So entropy is, in simple term, I will be saying that entropy is the waste energy, the energy which is not in use, we can say. So for calculation of entropy, we can calculate it by the same, like the entropy of formation of product and the entropy of for product, okay, minus entropy of reactant. So like that only we can calculate. So now from the previous equation, which was H2 plus O2, okay, equal to H2O and water. Okay, so from this reaction we will be calculating the value of this entropy. So here we can write the entropy as the entropy of product minus to the minus of entropy of reactant. Okay, so now what we will be getting the value of entropy. Okay, so entropy will be like what is the entropy of this H2O? Okay, it's 0.06996 and minus of H2 it's 0.5. So any of the participant is can calculate. Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
So so by calculating the entropy value, what we will be getting is minus 0.163785. So this is the value of, sorry, my writing is not good. So the entropy will be minus of, okay, so this is the value of entropy. Now we will calculate the temperature. So here at standard temperature it is in 25 degrees centigrade, but the entropy is in Kelvin, we can see from here. So to convert the Kelvin into to convert the Celsius into Kelvin, we add 273 to get the Kelvin value. So what we will be do 25 plus 273, okay, so we will get is in Kelvin. So the T here is 298 Kelvin, and the T del S will be what was the del S value? It was minus, okay, so 298 into minus 0.163785. So T del S we will be getting is minus 48, okay, 0.80. So we calculated the value of del T del S and we have the value of del H. So now we can calculate the Gibbs free energy. Okay, so the del X will be, let me clear the screen. So del S del G we will be getting is minus, the enthalpy was minus 286, okay, and minus here and minus here we got the T del S value. T del S value was minus 48.80. So we will be writing here 48.80. So del G we will get is minus 237 kilo, okay, per mole. So we calculated the value of del G and we have the del H here. So del G and del H. So from here we can calculate the value of efficiency. So the efficiency will be minus 237 upon minus 286, okay. So from this we can calculate the efficiency and that will be 200%, okay. So what will be, so it will be near about 82%, okay. So see from the theoretical all, so it is near about 82%, okay. So till now whatever we have done is a theoretical, but in case of practical fuel cell the scenario is different. There is some difference in the practical, because in practical case there are some losses which is being which occurred during the operation of fuel cells. So if we take the practical theoretical, so everything we consider is ideal, so there is no loss. So it is and we got the efficiency theoretically is about 82%. So this was the method how we calculate the efficiency of the fuel cell. So now I will be coming to the different type of fuel cell. Okay, so the first one is the proton exchange membrane. So proton exchange membrane, we have seen that Toyota uses the PEM only. So the PEM the PEM proton exchange membrane fuel cell has the solid electrolyte, okay. So now I think you must have been clear that what is electrolyte, okay. So and it is made up of fluorosulfonic acid, and from we can see its operating temperature is less than 120 degree, and the typical stack size, like we can say one fuel cell, the power will be about this much, okay. And its application, so we can see its application in backup power, portable power, distributed generation, transportation, okay, and specialty vehicle. So these are the applications of the PEM, okay, and its advantages. Now coming to the advantage, so this fuel cell have the solid electrolyte, okay. So because of solid electrolyte there is corrosion reduced and there is no need of electrolyte management. But in case of liquid, so there is need to be electrolyte management. So because it is solid, so there is no need of electrolyte management, okay. And it has low temperature, okay, and it didn't get heat up while during the operation, and it has quick startup and load flow. So these are the advantages we can see, and these are the advantages. Disadvantage is the catalysts are expensive, and these fuel cells are sensitive to the fuel impurities. Suppose if any impurities is seen into this fuel, like fuel cell fuel is hydrogen. Okay, so the fuel cell is sensitive towards it. And now coming to the alkaline AFC fuel cell. So AFC fuel cell, alkaline fuel cell has the liquid electrolyte. Okay, and its operating temperature is less than 100 degrees centigrade, and the stack size is 1 to 100 kilowatt. Okay, and the application is in military, space, backup power, and transportation. And the advantages is the wider range of stable material allow lower cost of component. Okay, we can see the material which is used inside the AFC is at low cost. Okay, and it has low temperature and quick startup. We can see the advantages quite similar to the PEM only, but coming to the disadvantages is the sensitive to the CO2. Suppose in fuel there is CO2, so this fuel cell will be sensitive towards it. And having the electrolyte, okay, liquid electrolyte, so this fuel cell need electrolyte management. Now coming to the phosphoric acid, PAFC. So this the electrolyte is here the phosphoric acid, and the type is of liquid, and it has the increase in operating temperature. We can see from the previous two fuel cell, this fuel cell have some good operating temperature, and the power is also increased, like the stack we can see from the previous. So it is using 400 kilowatt. Okay, and the application is here in distributed generation, and the advantage is increased tolerance to fuel impurities, and the disadvantage is expensive catalyst and long startup time, and this fuel cell is sulfur sensitive. So this I talked about the three fuel cells. There are more too. So the another one is the molten carbonate. So molten carbonate has the fuel cell type is of solid, and its operating temperature is very high. We can see here 600 to 700, and the power stack size is also we can see how much power it can generate. And the application, electric utility, distributed generation. Advantages: these fuel cells are higher efficiencies, okay, and fuel flexibilities, hybrid gas. So these are the advantages of the fuel cell. And this coming to the disadvantages is high temperature corrosion and breakdown of cell components. Because of high temperature there is some corrosion there, and the cell component breakdown. And this fuel cell have long startup time and low power density. Now coming to the next fuel cell, which is a solid oxide fuel cell. So it has the solid type electrolyte, okay, and its temperature, operating temperature is even high as compared to MCFC, okay, and the stack is here. We can see it's 1 kilowatt to 2 kilowatt, and the application we can see auxiliary power, electrical utility, and distributed generation. And its advantage is it has high efficiency, fuel flexible, solid electrolyte. So because of having solid electrolyte, it didn't need any electrolyte management. Okay, now high temperature corrosion, and similar to the disadvantage of molten carbonate fuel cell. So this fuel cell is also having the same disadvantage. Now coming to the next slide is the application. Like in previous slide I also talked about the fuel cell, so I will be more talking about the application here. Okay, so in transport industries we can see the this is fuel cell can be used in public transport. Okay, so many countries has also started working, and many has also delivered these fuel cell buses for their public transportation. So now coming to the portable use. So we can see here fuel cell can be used as portable devices. Suppose this is a military guy. Okay, he has a night vision goggle, and this vision is connected to a fuel cell. So there is one advantage if we compare the battery and fuel cell. So the battery, there is rundown case. So after some times, like we can say, the battery completely discharged, and it need to be discharged. But in case of fuel cell, the thing is like that happen. So as we supply the hydrogen, okay, the fuel cell will continuously generate the electricity and deliver to the load. So this is the good application, we can say, compared to battery. We can say fuel cell is good as compared to battery because it didn't run down. Okay, so for GPS unit equipment, we can see how fuel cell can be used, and we can see the many application of the fuel cell. And now for the electrical appliances, this is a house. Okay, and this house is everyone house is connected to the grid. Okay, and the grid supply the power to the television, refrigerator, washing machine, geyser, and etc. Okay, many number of things connected to the grid at our home. Suppose a house which is not connected to a grid, we can connect a fuel cell as per the requirement, and that fuel cell can supply the power to the TV, refrigerators, and washing machines. And like instead of having a grid, if a house is not connected to a grid, we can connect a fuel cell and run the different appliances. So depend like similar thing we is like NHPC, National Hydro Power Corporation. Okay, so this has signed MOU with the Lieutenant General of Leh Ladakh. Okay, and they are working on project. This is green hydrogen based project. So in which they are developing the pilot green hydrogen technology. So what they are focusing is they are so they are increasing the production of green hydrogen in that region. So what is green hydrogen? According to the production of hydrogen, there are hydrogen classified into different colors. So suppose the green hydrogen. So suppose if we produce electricity from electricity, and that electricity which we get is from renewable sources, and then it will be green hydrogen. But if the electricity which is based on coal or petroleum, then that hydrogen will be gray hydrogen. And after that there are pink hydrogen also, which are produced through nuclear, okay, nuclear power. So so depending, like we can see there are different type of hydrogen based on the different production of hydrogen. The classification of hydrogen is different. So now NHPC will power the guest house. Okay, the guest house of NHPC, which is at Leh. So it will be powered like this format only. Like fuel cell will give this power supply to the NHPC guest house. So this was all about the application of the fuel cell. Now I will be talking about the theoretical voltage. So till now we have seen here the history of hydrogen, fuel cell vehicle. I talked some of the fuel cell vehicle and different type of fuel cell, the efficiency calculation we have seen. Now we will be seeing the theoretical voltage of hydrogen fuel cell. So for calculating the theoretical voltage, first we will see the electrical work done. Okay, we know that the electrical work done is QE. Okay, and E is the voltage, E is the potential. Okay, so and Q is the charge. Okay, which will be transferred in a fuel cell reaction per mole of hydrogen. Like if we have seen the fuel cell reaction, okay, in which hydrogen was given to the anode, and overall reaction. So this Q is related to that, okay, depending upon the hydrogen value. So we will be first calculate the Q. Now for calculating the charge transfer, like how much charge transferred, we can see from this equation, okay, the Q is N into Avogadro's number and charge on one electron. So N is the number of, okay, so number of electron per mole of H2. So it was 2 electrons, so H2 was broken into 2H plus. So here N will be, okay, 2 and Avogadro's number, and this is the charge on one electron. So charge on one electron is this, okay, and the Avogadro's number is 6.02. So we will see the product of Avogadro's number and charge on one electron is the Faraday constant, which is equal to 96500. So from here we can see that Q will be, okay, so Q will be 2 into 96500. Okay, now we have seen, we also know that the work done by a fuel is also in terms of Gibbs free energy. So WEL is also equal to minus del G. Okay, and from using this one equation 1 and 2, we can calculate the value of E, and that is equal to del G divided upon NF. So what was the del G value? It was 237, okay, into kilo and multiplied 96500. So I have the calculation. So it will be near about 1.2, okay, so volt. So we can see that only 1.2 volt is we can get from one fuel cell, like one stack of fuel cell. And if this is value is calculated is practical, but in theoretical, sorry, this is theoretical value, and but in case of practical, because of lots of losses are there, some losses goes into ohmic losses, some are activation losses, and so the practical value of fuel cell voltage is even less than 1.2 volt. So we calculated, we know how to calculate the theoretical voltage of fuel cell from this slide. Now these are the some market players, okay, which are responsible for the production of fuel cell, like Ballard, okay, Bloom Energy, Solid Power, Ceres Power, and Chen Cell, Horizon, Intelligent Energy, Mitsubishi, Robert Bosch, Toshiba, Fuel Cell Energy, okay, and Toyota. So these company are the leading fuel cell manufacturer and hydrogen manufacturer. So they are developing the fuel cell technology. Okay. So now coming to the fuel cell vehicle. Okay, so this is a fuel cell vehicle. So the component of the fuel cell is this. So this is an hydrogen tank, okay, and which is connected to the fuel cell. So because for fuel cell we require hydrogen, and it has the battery. Fuel cell vehicle has also battery. In Toyota Mirai, simply we have seen the battery specification was also given there, and hydrogen tank was specification also given, and fuel cell also. This is the power control unit. So power control unit, what do they do? So they manage the power flow between the motor, from the fuel cell to the motor, and battery to the traction motor. Okay, so they are responsible for the power flow. Suppose the fuel cell is delivering the power to the traction motor, and during the peak condition, okay, the controller will give the give the control to battery to supply the traction motor. So this is the traction motor connected here. So this is the main component of the fuel cell vehicle. Now I will be showing a video on this. So till now here we have seen that the fuel cell need hydrogen and oxygen, and when there is hydrogen supplied and oxygen goes to the fuel cell, it generates electricity and water is also emitted from this vehicle. So the more working of this vehicle is so here we see you can see the low load driving condition. Okay, so what happened here, when the battery goes down, the fuel cell is supplying the energy to the motor also, and the motor is running, and along with that the fuel cell is also charging the battery as well. We can see output. So in high load driving, the driver give the pedal. Okay, we can say there is high power requirement by the motor, and during that time the fuel cell if didn't supply the sufficient amount of energy, the battery will then provide the power to the traction motor. So at this instant, the fuel cell and battery both are working and giving the power to the motor, and the vehicle is being moving. Here this video shows the explanation of the energy recovery. So energy is that regenerative braking. So during the braking, we can see the motor start working as a generator, and then it gives the power to the battery. So one from the audience can explain me why it is only supplying energy to the battery, why not fuel cell? Anyone from the participants?
The question, sir, once again, please repeat the question, sir. Hello?
Your voice is distorting. Your voice is breaking.
Please repeat the question, sir.
Okay. Your voice is breaking. So till now we have understand the fuel cell, but I didn't say anything about related that fuel cell stored energy. In case of battery stores energy, but fuel cell didn't, because there is continuous flow. If we give the continuous supply to the hydrogen, continuous supply of hydrogen to the fuel cell, and the continuous electricity will be generated here. But in case of fuel cell, there is no storage. We cannot store energy inside the fuel cell. Okay, so but in case of battery, the energy can be stored. So just So from this video, I think you might have been the clear regarding the working of fuel cell. So now I will be talking about some government initiative which are boosting towards the production of hydrogen, and they are giving the incentives or subsidies to the automotive industries for booming the production of EVs, and also for the hydrogen production also. So last year the cabinet decision was the PLI. Okay, PLI scheme, which is production linked incentive for automobile sector and drone industry. So by this scheme, we can say they are encouraging the industry and manufacturer to open the new plant, okay, or industry, to attract many startup towards related to the automobile, okay, which is based on EVs, or we can say hydrogen fuel cell. So they are giving the incentive worth 26,000 crore, okay, for the sector of automobile and drone industry. So benefit of this scheme will be that it will be in boost up the India's manufacturing capabilities, because lot of industry will be will be open, and the manufacturing unit will be set up, and this will also give the employment to the unemployed ones. So we can see the manufacturing is the benefit, employment is also benefit, and also focusing on the EV and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, the environment is will be also cleaner, because this vehicle, EV and hydrogen vehicles, didn't emit CO2. So now coming to the next initiative, which is on the hydrogen mission, national hydrogen mission. So this mission is by Ministry of Power, okay, and this mission aim to boost the production of green hydrogen, okay, and from so they are aiming to boost up the production of hydrogen, green hydrogen. So I think you must have been clear that what is green hydrogen. In the previous slide I explained the green hydrogen, okay, and they are aiming to production of hydrogen by 5 million, okay, tons by 2030. So because of this, the fuel cell, the hydrogen cost will be reduced. And also what is green hydrogen I explained. Now what will be the policy, how will policy boost the domestic production? So they are these policies offering many, like one I will be explaining here is the if they are providing 25 years of free power transmission, okay, for any new renewable energy plant set up, okay, to supply power for green hydrogen production before July. Suppose any industry which is being set up, okay, before July 2025, okay, which is related to production of green hydrogen, Okay, so there will be no no transmission cost. Suppose we have to supply energy from Rajasthan to Gujarat, okay, or some from different state, okay, between the different state. For the transmission of this energy, there are many taxes, okay, but under this scheme, there will be no taxes or charges will be taken. But the thing is that it should be related to green hydrogen production only. Okay, so what are the incentives given? So they are providing a single portal, okay, so to industry for for giving the clearance to set up the green hydrogen production. So these are the incentive which is given by the government, okay, and they are considering the green plant production industry as on the priority basis. And what are the significance? All of this under this scheme, the government aim is to make the India a hub of production and export of green hydrogen. So by 2020, India will be exporter of green hydrogen, and it is expected that 11.7 million tons of hydrogen demand will be in 2030 from 6 metric ton, which is current. So this is how the government is introduce some initiative for the production of hydrogen. So I think you have all have the good session, and thank you.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir. Hello. Hello. Hello.
So any questions?
So there is. Am I audible? Hello. Hello.
I don't know why there is distortion. I am not getting a voice clear. Voice is not clear.
Is it audible now? Hello. Hello.
Your voice is disturbing, breaking. I am not getting you.
Hello, sir. Now is it audible? Hello, sir. Hello.
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 Hello? Hello, sir. Is it audible?
Hello. If you have question, then post in chat box, na.
Now say, what is your query? Hello? Hello?
Hello. Hello. Hello, can you hear me? Hello. Hello.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, please.
Yes, please say something. Any questions from the participants?
Yes, sir.
Say.
Sir, what are the challenges for hydrogen as a fuel?
See the hydrogen challenges. So the challenges will be in storing, because the storing of hydrogen is one of big challenge, because it requires cryogenic tanks which stores at a very cold temperature. Suppose we use hydrogen as liquid, okay, suppose, and the temperature of liquid fuel is in minus, it is about minus 200 degrees centigrade, and see, and if we to store that very cold fuel, we require cryogenic tanks, and these tanks are costlier to make. And if we use, suppose I have given the example of Toyota Mirina, it uses the hydrogen in gaseous form, okay, but due to its very low density, suppose I will be show you a comparison. If there is a petrol of 30-liter tank, okay, and we know that the hydrogen gas density is very low, and in that 30-liter tank only about half an kg hydrogen will be stored, but so see, we can see how much very little hydrogen will be stored. So we have to compress the gas at very high pressure to store that hydrogen into the tank. So there will be a risk if something happens and that hydrogen tank explodes, so there will be a loss. So these are the challenges, but as there is technology increasing, so their scientists are working, R&D is working to improve this, to overcome this problem. So it's clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you. And sir, one more thing. Can we increase the efficiency of hydrogen fuel?
See, listen, the hydrogen fuel cell are very efficient, okay, because we can see here there are calculation. I have shown the calculation in theoretical part, theoretical only, but in case of practical cases there are many losses, not many, few losses which occur during the operation of fuel cell, we can say. So we can from that we can see the efficiency. Now you are asking about the increasing the efficiency.
Yes, sir. Can
Ah,
we
so
increase the efficiency of hydrogen fuel?
no, see, and according to the current scenario, there are many technology which are working on to the increasing the efficiency of hydrogen fuel cell. So we'll see if there is more new technology come then. But fuel cell are already giving very much high efficiency if if we compare to the other conversion devices.
Okay. And can we store this thing in a plastic? Hydrogen can be stored in plastic or not?
I told you clearly, na, the hydrogen, if required as a fuel, it is in liquid form, and that liquid form is very cold. It is about minus negative of 200, and to store that negative very cold liquid, we require cryogenic tanks. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay, so can I conclude the session?
Yes, yes, of course, sir.
Thank you.
बोलूँगा बोल दो थैंक यू फॉर
Hello, Himanshu, sir. Hello.
Yes.
Sir, does hydrogen burn itself?
Yeah, if the requirement, like we can say if the condition, like if it reaches its condition at the burning, then it will be burnt. But but it didn't burn at its own because lots of there are abundant amount of hydrogen present in the atmosphere. If it burnt on its own, then there will be no atmosphere exist. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I am concluding the session. Okay, thank you for attending.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.